Hello and welcome, Cosmic Quantum Travelers. How are you doing? I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for waiting. As I have given the disclaimer, I am not joking, 10 minutes. And even if I would edit 10 minutes, it would still be 10 minutes. I've tried this before, okay? So really sorry, and I don't mean, as I said, to disrespect anyone's time. And obviously a lot of people will catch the replay. So thank you for joining me in Quantum No Time, as always. And I hope you're all doing okay amidst the intensity. Ronnie, Kat, Love, Light, Oneness, Harmonious Being, Claire, did I say Mike, Pamela, Victoria, Bear, David, Spiritual Senses, Camille. Thank you so much for being here now and in general for this gigantic undertaking and what's going on. So we are blitzing the false light matrix, and we're going to give it today its final death, kick, throw, punch, blow up. Let's do it. Okay? In quantum no time, as always. So that's what I'm here for. I'm literally here for dismantling, dissolving the false light matrix. And it's all about keeping a nice balance. All of this is about balance, harmony, unity, polarity integration. And basically, that's what we're here for. That's what Ascension is about. And it's many things wrapped up into one. But one of them is polarity integration. So integrating all of these pieces that we feel separated from, we feel at odds with, we feel not at one with, because the at one-ment, I think most of us can agree on, is the solution to all of this. But how we do integrate the oneness within the singularity of the self, like the singularity is the oneness, but how do we integrate this within our own sovereign self, which has been a task at hand for millennia, very intense energies. And we're doing a lot of clearing, and this is obviously no joke. And what is this also about? The revelation, Armageddon, which is really the revelation of truth, and love is truth. And yes, truth does hurt for the conditioned mind. But if you dissolve into the oneness, you can see it's all been a dream, and we're projecting all of this from our subconscious. And that's, as we're making the unconscious or subconscious conscious, we are getting to change the dream. And this is outside of time, no matter what anyone says out there, as I perceive it. Because you need to transcend time, space, and gravity, literally, to transcend this 3D reality. Isn't that what we are here for? To make the magic happen and turn on our magic gifts and abilities? I think so. That's what I'm here for. And part of that is dissolving the matrix. So it's not about just focusing on all the dark agendas or just focusing on love and light. It's holding a balance. But yeah, it should be more turned towards love and light. But love and light, true divine love, means all kinds of love. It doesn't just mean like airy fairy love that's gullible and doesn't know what the heck is going on out there. It means you've integrated all of that darkness, all of the shadows within yourself as one, and you rebirth yourself in your true innocence and essence as one. That's what we're here for. And I think many of us can feel it, that all of these feelings of separation and judgment, first of all, are coming up as they clear, yes, but depending on where you are at the spectrum and how much work you have done, you can, the forerunners are now holding the neutral 0 point field in order for all of this bullshit to collapse, quite frankly. And our belief systems are our limits, and yeah, you can't force them. This is not about an ego belief that you want to manifest whatever from a lower mind or lower instinctual place, instinctual, from the lower bodies, so from the lower desires. So desire is nothing wrong. We alchemize everything, but we don't let them drive our behaviors. We don't let them drive our actions and feelings and thoughts. We alchemize them and we keep a check on the thief, on the villain in the mind. We're the policeman. So we need to keep these thoughts and feelings in check. So as the false matrix is dissolving, which is out there and within, in our fields, in our realities, it happens on all levels, layers, and dimensions, as all is unifying as one. And that is at the moment bringing up, and I've said this for a while, disclosure isn't just for the masses, this is for us as well. So yes, there's root awakenings coming and already happening within the spiritual community of what is false light, and it's been going on for a while, and we're all again at different stages of understandings. And I'm just going to share my part today, from my experience, because that's really all we can do, is sharing from our experience. And I really do come from a neutral place, but to neutrality in a 0 point where we collapse all these fallen timelines and matrices from, you also have discernment. It's not as if you just, let's all sing the kumbaya together and we're all one from the perspective of we cannot be angry or we cannot be resolute in getting rid of what needs to be gotten rid of. And that doesn't mean a lack of compassion. That just means a understanding or a having healed actually our inner child trauma. It doesn't get traumatized anymore by these stories playing out, which is triggering everyone, recreating more trauma, more of these fallen timelines. And that's what we're here to fully dissolve. And we can only do that as we heal ourselves. So less and less of that crap comes up in your reality because you're not tuning into it anymore. You're not feeding it your attention and your energy and your life force to these vampires and fallen timelines and phantom matrices that are literally dissolved now. And they're just existing in your mind anyway. So you can make this as complicated as you want to. But the basics are very simple. And this is about simplicity, because you do not want to get stuck in polarity and black and white thinking, compartmentalization. It does not help. So we're trying to unify all of this within a oneness without getting stuck in judgment and polarity and separation. As it comes up, it's all perfect, ultimately, all perfectly imperfect. But we want to be very conscious of what we're doing here to make this process quicker and easier, don't we? And a big issue is the division within the spiritual community. And that's what I'm going to be speaking on, because it's very much connected to the false light matrix and matrices and phantom matrices and wormholes and black holes. And all this has been closed yesterday. Time rip, all completed. Now, so it is done. So we're healing all of these layers of dimensional levels, because the way we've been looking at all of this is from a very 3D separated mind perspective. But really, it's 12 dimensional, it's all the way or none. You need to heal all these layers in order to heal. So this is beyond 5D. This is a false light matrix. This is also a false light matrix as I see it. Again, take what resonates, leave the rest. I do not believe anyone here has all the answers. Okay? So, yeah, if you're listening to me, believe me, I'm coming with a whole lot of frequency, and this is a whole activation in itself, listening to me. Because we're going to cut through the bullshit here and now and dissolve this crap. Because I've had enough of it. I've had 4 years of false light, bullshit, messing, interference, 22. And I will not let this anymore divide us, or at least I will speak my truth. And I know this, doesn't matter how many people are listening, is literally that frequency of truth dissolves all that is artificial, false, inverted. All these false programs, thought forms, belief systems dissolve now. Because that's how much power we have. This is not about just imagining new earth now and going la, 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 nothing is wrong. No. If anyone has followed me for at least a year, they know I've been taking down that crap with you together as one. I'm not here just sitting and waiting at all. And part of that is also sitting and waiting and being patient infinitely. Because we're eternal. And this shit is a dream. So we need to see through the freaking dream. We need to keep remembering, stop forgetting, transcend all the division within a spiritual community. Because that's literally the split within a spiritual community. And because people are waking up from, okay, not everything is just, I mean, again, everybody's at a different stage and understanding of what's really going on here. But let's just say from my experience, let's put it maybe that way. It's best to just explain my journey a little bit. I think that's the best way to put it, okay? Through working through what's going on here. 2011, waking up through, burnout at work from sales, basically my monkey mind driving me crazy. Ended up in a Reiki session, totally opened me up. I then had time off work and basically stress-induced sort of awakening, but then also assisted by Reiki. And I went to a really nice practitioner for a while to help me, clear out these layers because I found it very beneficial. She was really great. And I then, after I had my daughter, during the time when I was off sick, actually, about 9 months after I had her, I did my first Reiki course. And then I knew I wanted to do the master straight away. So I did that within a year, did all the Reiki courses. And I know there's so many different courses out there, that's a whole other thing. Of the distortions within all the teachings, all the materials out there. And that's why I always say and have transmitted that you always take what resonates, leave the rest. And what you resonate with also shifts and changes throughout the time. And I see some people get stuck in certain teachings or methods, methodologies, and they then don't progress. And for me, it's always been like I call it a Mad Hatter's puzzle, where I just like pick out bits and pieces that resonate. And I've never been always right either. I followed false light teachings of various kinds, but I also always, the core truth I held was always in and is still the same. That hasn't changed because I do not let my own perspective of reality change to that level. But we do have a lot of people who've been too influenced by groupthink and mind on a spiritual level that are then completely just like the sleeping lions. That's what I've been seeing in the field. It's like trying to wake up a field of sleeping lions or dragons. And it's like, oh my goodness, come on. Because I'm tired. We're all tired here. Many people are tired. And thank you for all those people who are doing all the hard work. And I know a lot of us they don't speak about it, or they don't get a thank you from anyone. They don't get any reward for it. But believe me, those rewards are coming, and they come by us claiming the worth of what we're doing, which is literally priceless. And we're going to manifest out of thin air. So we are doing it. We're giving ourselves the reward. The same as we have been seeding ourselves and co-created all of this. We cannot get this done if you still feel separate from any part of your creation, which is all that is. That includes entities, parasites, stupid people and actors. So, but you get me. Without over-identifying with thinking I'm not terrible. You need to have a certain level of the neutrality and disassociation in a positive way of understanding you're not your body, you're not your form, you're not your identity, you're not those things you think you are, whether it's your house, your family, your job, what you learned, where you live, the language you speak, the clothes you wear. Or the next level comes the spiritual identity you have identified yourself with. This all goes out the window. When you are one with Source, you are all things. Without getting lost in that or over-identifying again and having an identity crisis with who we really are. I mean, that's the trick. Who are we? Ultimately, one of my favorite words, is we are all things. We truly are. But Again, we can't do this by just thinking, oh, let's save everybody, because we tried that, and that is free will that we need to respect. Ultimately, everybody's co-creating their own reality, and there is cause and effect, there is karma, and it's playing out right now. And on a quantum level, it's already all resolved. And we're a total reset, a total rebirth. So I do not see, even though there will be healing on many different levels for many different people, some are going fully back to source for re-encryption. But once you understand that none of this is personal and that you're not your form right now, even all the other lifetimes you've lived, you are and you're not. That's the fun thing. So the 3D level, the highest understanding you can gain, is that it's all a paradox, which might drive some people crazy because there's no more right and wrong, good or bad, ultimately at the highest level. But yes, there are different levels of reality, truth, consciousness, and we're all merging as one. And it's not ultimately as if there's no rhyme or reason, but it really goes like you need to be able to fully do this process yourself in a way of merging, unifying with your higher identities, be tuned in and unified with your higher heart mind to receive the highest guidance in any one now moment that does not really align with 3D logical sense. That's what I meant by that. There are many different levels of truth, and nobody has a guidebook they can give you for you to follow. And there is no safety, and that's what people need to understand. So my journey at the beginning, Reiki, did that course. I did it then, for years. I kind of figured out I was always a bit different from the people in the Reiki group, kind of, as always, a bit different, even within the communities of the communities. Anyway, but, I was always more ascension oriented, where the people not so much. And anyway, so I would pick up different things, and I would also do like regular meditations, group meditations that I was very much into. I would help people, that I knew either online, or I think people always gravitated to me as a natural counselor, even before any of the spiritual things. And believe me, I was never that spiritual beforehand, so it was all a big opening. And I'm not going to go too much into details about that, but basically, as I went through the whole, what most of us do, we do the activations, we listen to different channelings, and I don't know, go maybe to a retreat and whatever it is, to different healings. And I've never done too much of that, but I definitely did the mass meditations and, followed different spiritual teachers, which I later on found out pretty much all of them are compromised, whether they know or not know. But most of the people I would have met know. And there are, throughout the lifetimes, I can see have been connected. And this is very much part of a bigger picture that most of us don't fully understand, of a lot of interference that happens on our levels and layers. And depending on who we are high up those lists and have a lot of interference to deal with. Anyone connected to me closely needs to own their shit and needs to have a high level of strength in their field, because they will be most likely targeted. That's why I keep my circle very close, because it has happened again and again. And I had to get to a point, because I'm saying this because this applies to many of us, where we then feel totally isolated because we can't trust anyone anymore, because people around us in the immediate environment, and even then on the spiritual scene, as we have seen, everybody goes crazy, everybody points the finger, everybody, your false light, everybody blocks one another, everybody unfriends one another. And that's exactly the dark light agenda, to tear us apart and keep us separate, because that's how they keep the DNA all damaged. That's how they keep the tribes apart. It's us having fallen for the divide and conquer. That's where we're going back to the start. We have to heal this now and understand what the fuck is going on here. That all these agendas out there and all these people pushing all this crap, keeping us in victimizer consciousness and us versus them, and we know better, and your false light, that's them winning. Now, done with this bullshit, okay? Now, it's very important we know how to discern, quite frankly, of who is false or real light. But ultimately, I mean, there's so many levels to this. This is part of your, dark arts training, first of all, to clear the shit from your own field, or planetary-wide, depending on your contracts and what you're here for. And we can't really run away from this. I try to, not do the work, but the only thing that really helps is doing the work. And that's what we're here for. It's you following your destiny and your dharma. And we need to keep going until this is done. And when we come together with the right people, this is done. I mean, it's already done. We're dissolving all this bullshit, but everything we do helps us. And when we come together on whichever level and do the work together, we are so much more powerful. And that's what the twin flames are mainly about, because on their own, they can clear a whole lot, because they have a whole lot more. The original twin flames, or 144, the core monad as I see it, and we are ultimately all part of that. But some of us are doing this 24/7 and a whole lot of hard work. And as they come together in power, we are getting this done like this. Because any one person of us can only do just so much in any way, shape, or form. There is no person in island, and we have let the agendas win in putting us against one another. So then I wake up from the crap that goes on within all these mass meditations, which I literally have cost my energy body a lot more damage than healing. They might feel great once you do this, but I mean, there are many layers to this. The only way you can know is, by experience, ultimately. That's the only way you know. So I'm not here to give you any list of false light teachers or teachings or whatever out there, but I'm just going to highlight some certain themes and stuff that might help other people to march through this more quickly and not get stuck in false teachings that just keep you in another layer of false matrices, which is basically thought forms and belief systems. So what's going on with the spiritual community is also going on without the collective. So never mind what's going on out there. We fix this as we fix the spiritual community here and the different belief systems. And I know people who listen to me, I bring in a lot of ascension mechanics from Ascension Glossary, but usually just that what connects to our light body and the activation is taking place, so more from a positive viewpoint. Whilst there, we also need to highlight this crap is clearing out, because we can't just turn a blind eye. It doesn't work either. So we see the crap, but then we come up with a solution. We are the solution. We clear up this crap, whatever it takes. I do this for another few billion years if it needs to be. All I have is time. Now, that's not what's going to happen, because you're doing this in no time, okay? Because I'm done. Who else is done? Who wants to do this? Yeah, woohoo, let's do this. We can only do this if enough of us realize we are here to do this, and we can do this, especially when we pull together. And the twin flames, as they hold a lot of high codings, 48 to 72 strands, triple helix DNA, they activate these higher, first of all, the organic Ascension Earth blueprint, the new creatrix field, which is beyond 5D, and it's beyond what's being talked about out there by most, as I see it. And again, take what resonates, leave the rest. But ultimately, what reality are you choosing? So are you choosing a reality where we still have another few hundred years to go, and it's going to take a lot of time? Because why? Because somebody told you so? What are you choosing? Or are you waiting for some speaker or teacher to tell you what's happening and when? And you're going to regurgitate that, and that's the truth. And everybody else is false light. And in thinking you have it all figured out, and the rest is false light. Can you be so sure anymore? Because this needs to be said, because I'm really like, also when I share other people's posts, I just want to make that very clear again, and I've said so before. It doesn't mean that I, first of all, agree with 100% of what I share in that post, but mostly it would be, yeah. Otherwise, I wouldn't share. But especially not other posts that I'm not sharing. Because there's just a lot of stuff that goes on, especially within the Ascension mechanics community, that then after I figured out the false light and love kind of area of the spiritual community where everything is just great and nobody talks about entities or that there are attachments or that we have like negative alien invasions, everything is just great there, you know? So that's not the truth. And kind of spiritual bypassing where we're just like, just have a high vibration. No. Holding a lot of frequency, anchoring a lot of frequency, anchoring a lot of activations takes it out of you. Those who know what I'm talking about. And you don't really have a life beyond this because it's your full dedication and you've literally sacrificed your life to this mission because you just need to get it done because it's part of your template, it's part of your mission, it's part of your destiny. And those people will have been targeted very highly by the false light. And I can see a lot of brothers and sisters stuck for the last 2 years since I understand what is going on then beyond that false light level, where you then think, here, I found a holy grail of information within the Ascension Mechanics community, but then it's different and another split within that community, just to make it more interesting. You can see I'm like clearing here. I'm clearing like, this has to go. I'm done with this shit. Okay? So make up your own mind. Don't fall for the group thing, because in the Ascension Mechanics community, you then have this whole thing of the spiritual ego is being really fed, and because you think you got it all figured out, but then you're going for the other extreme of focusing too much on the false light, too much on the fallen timelines that they all keep feeding. And you're stuck in separation and compartmentalization and actually fanaticism that makes you think anything that goes beyond those teachings is false light and you're part of the negative alien agenda. Truly? Is this reality? And then you keep feeding that, because it doesn't matter whether you're listening to mainstream or fallen timelines, you keep feeding the very thing you're constantly focusing on. Yeah, it's all perfect. The journey is perfect. It leads you all back to, don't wait for any teacher or teachings or materials to tell you the truth. Hold on very lightly, especially now. Let it go what you think you know, what needs to happen, when. Because even within those teachings, everything has changed again and again and can happen at any moment and change. So that's what we can all agree on. So let's focus on that. So yeah, what is the limit here? So let's not just focus on the masses out there. What are we doing within a spiritual community that is keeping us limited in our thinking of what's possible and not? Never mind what anyone has said, including me, what's going to happen, not happening. Ask yourself, because why do you believe what you believe? Because somebody said so? Are you waiting for whoever out there to tell you what's happening and when? And otherwise you don't know? That's an issue. That's you giving your power away. What happens if the internet goes out any moment now? Thank God. And we switch over to free energy that we are here to anchor and activate through our own superpowers. Listen to higher guidance. Because the false light will make you want to think that they have the answers and you need to go for them for the activation. Like without them, you can't ascend, or the material, or that truth. Everything is built in the instruction sets, the truth. With a pure heart, you will be able to access the truth. A child can do this. And all that over information, and I'm interested in that information because, as I said before, I believe there's distortion everywhere in all these materials, okay? And these are ultimately the stolen CDD plates. These are the stolen emerald tablets. And what I'm here for is activating that truth within us with the activations I've been assisting to anchor into the field And I know those people also have been seeing me as false light, which is fine because I understand what it is. But literally, it's, those people who've been kind of, geez, because this goes beyond this lifetime. It's the same with the stories of the gray lines and the family of Christ and those that were here to protect those family lines. And it was literally within the families, within those that were supposed to protect us, that went against us, never mind the enemy. It's within the family that the crack happens first. And that's what we need to fix here. And that's only when it can come really together again as one family, all the 12 tribes as one. That's what I'm here for. That's what heals fully the tribal shield, our DNA, and brings online Ascension Earth and fully dissolves the matrix. And it actually happens within the twin flames because they're the core of those 12 gray lines and tribes and galactic families that have seeded Earth and have seeded the divine human. Because they hold the template, they hold the DNA strands and the blueprints. And that's really what also our history records are. So right now, a huge dissolution of all these holographic inserts and implants and false memories, which equals the false realities, which is why all this crap is coming up with this false light stuff. And all we really have to do is let it all go. Do you need an ascended master or guardian or a speaker or a teacher, anyone, including me, to tell you what's going on, what to do? No, you don't. Okay, yes, we can listen to one another. That's what we're here for. But nobody is above or beyond you, knows more than you do, ultimately. You are here to retrieve your part of the wisdom. I don't have it all. I'm just here to retrieve my part and then share it with you, or whatever I'm guided to share. But I don't have all the answers. And I don't think anyone out there does. And if you believe they do, it's like you thinking there's a false sense of security out there. Information changes, especially now, through the dimensional layers. And we're here to remember the truth, not to learn it in a book or through whatever, from the outside. You need to pull it all back within. The false light makes you feed it. It's, it's the same part of us creating a sovereign energy field as you no longer feeding vampires, whether it's people in your environment, whether it's energetically you having an open field which really relates to you, having vampires in your reality. And most of them are unknowingly doing all of this stuff. And you're unknowingly feeding them until you're like realizing, oh, wait, this is actually draining me, this crap. All of this stuff you need to cut off in order to reclaim your sovereignty, heal your field, know where you're giving your power away to teach or anything, whether it's the government or your boss or your partner, I don't care, or your child or your cat. And fix that shit. Become sovereign whilst we're doing it lovingly as much as we can. But it's also okay to be angry sometimes because there's a lot of crap going on and we're here to transmute a whole lot of stuff. Okay, so we're cutting everybody a whole lot of crap. Cutting, I don't know, can't remember what the expression is. It's like ultimately in order to get to the point where you totally can release your own karmic crap is where everybody gets off the hook without really getting off the hook because it's been sorted out at a higher level. Everybody needs to, the beings that are choosing rehabilitation need to face energetically in whichever way the wrongdoings that I've done in order to fully, because it's not just of like, yes, I'm sorry, please just heal me. No. This is about you really need to understand what has happened here so you can correct it within your own field. And we all had to do this throughout our journey, where you need to go into the judgment or the blame and the shame and the guilt in order to realize, oh, wait, it's not a program. It is not me. It's collective. It's not really who I truly am. But you also need to personalize it to the extent that you need to play that role, understand everybody else is playing a role. Yeah, I was called a cat butler, and I'm still working on that one. I'm too good to my kitties, all of them. So, yeah, boundaries discernment, very, very important. Very important on all levels, because that's what keeps our field energetically sovereign. But it doesn't mean we have barbed wires. We really need to transcend all these last layers of separation now, merging into the oneness, because it's the only way. That's you transcending fear. And it's what we've been doing on so many layers and levels, because the artificial matrix ultimately equals fear programming. So thought forms and belief systems based in fear, which is really false evidence appearing real. It's part of the illusion, which is also the separation. But again, we're trying to, it's the oneness, but it also means those who are not want to play along under these rules are leaving the game. And it's where you have to be resolute. And once you have healed your inner child and inner trauma, you are no longer triggered by whatever goes out there. So those people right now who might be triggered by the queen dying and even feel mournful, and I have utter respect, believe me, I bowed down towards all those of the false light and of negative intent. I've integrated all this crap. I have utter respect for the roles they have played. But then there's also a point where they leave the game. And it's not that I have any faults. I've healed my trauma enough where you're not affected by death in the same way anymore, because you understand it is a normal part of this life, but obviously we're differently affected. I'm not saying you're like a cold person who's not, affected by the people around them suffering or whatever, but you understand it's part of that. You understand you don't need to suffer along with them. You're here to hold space. You're not here to judge. But if you judge, go into the judgment, just don't stay there. Same with anger or anything. We alchemize it. We don't stay there, but nothing is off limits, because all of this is us. As a multidimensional self, fully integrated, you're all of these pieces. And in each now moment, another aspect of you steps forth, but they all know each other, called this integrated multidimensional personality in order. Instead of the, split personality type thing we know from psychiatric conditions. So we're totally unified as one. Nothing is separate from us anymore. Nothing is a threat, whether it's AI, whether it's some politician, a fallen angelic entities. And like some of the moments where I had the biggest amount of attacks energetically, it first of all took me years to figure out what was going on and why I was feeling shit all the time. It's because we clear all this crap. And we're being a lot of the time attacked on many different layers and levels energetically and through frequencies. Mind control, people around us. So seeing through that is what helps you dissolve it. Clue in. Dark arts training is helping you clear all that stuff from your field. And if that's part of your contract, planetary wide. But that means you like me, I do this many hours a day. It literally hurts. It's not fun, but it's the only way through. And that's just what I'm here for. And those that resonate with this know what I mean. But know just your worth of you doing this, and it's really so close. We're just evaporating all this crap right now, okay? Diamond white flame, I work with that most of the time. And it encompasses all the rays, all the subharmonics, okay? Yeah, I mean, we're literally just igniting, activating the new earth realities within our DNA, within our field. And whilst we're doing this, we are evaporating everything. And the twin flames are really here too, through the divine unions that are happening mostly at a higher dimensional level, because they are here to anchor heaven on earth as one with inequality, balance, and harmony and peace. Everything comes to divine union. They hold this blueprint of the 144 within their templates, and then it fully activates in the field as they come to full divine union with one another. And first of all, within, it's like the chicken and the egg. It's quantum. It's both the same as I see it. And this might happen again to you in whichever way. Those who know, okay? But ultimately, we're all part of this template, and they're here for many different things. But right now, they're really here to activate the new Eden. They have the Paradisian Edenic codes, the new Earth Ascension codes within a template, to activate the new relationship templates, which is what all of society is based upon, is how do we relate to one another. And that divine love, which is not stupid, has boundaries, it's all clued in. Sometimes it's tough love, but ultimately that divine love, unconditional love that the twin flames are feeling for one another is what is dissolving all the falseness. Because that's what has kept them apart. That's what split them up. Or rather, their own fears and projections and crap that then manifested interference to come in. And it goes back to the Lyran Stargate, Lyran Stargate, and all the other catastrophes and invasions, Lemurian Holocaust and so forth, to happen, where negative alien agendas came in. But they only happened, we only co-created them, again, as I've been shown, because we projected our own fears and separation onto one another, and the other one allowed it. And, the victim-victimizer games, the gender split wars, at a minute level, kind of then brought in the interference, and then everything, went very pear-shaped from there, let's put it that way. But it also has a higher purpose, all of this. But we've been doing this for so long. This is all now resolving, and I'm literally here to resolve and bring resolution to the one consciousness, bring back the tribes together as one, transcend our differences, because it has broken my heart over the last 2 years to see the division within the spiritual community, seeing what's going on, the hijacking of the material, and it being, there being reversals within it, and then people getting so fanatical about it that I have these little groups, and anyone who goes against the teachings is like part of the negative alien agenda. That's brainwashing people. Sorry. If you think, because you're stuck in separation and at victimizer consciousness, and you keep those timelines and realities and fallen matrices alive, but keep believing that is what is true. And then people are still believing that the timeline split is happening in the future, and I think next year. It's already done. The Metatronic codes are already being changed and shifted. There's shifts in the diamond grids happening. So we're shifting from the 60 degrees of the Metatronic flower of life patterning to the 45-degree diamond grid configuration within the grids and within our own fields. And that's also part of the crystal, lotus flower, and rose, diamond rose configurations that are happening within our own field, from our own heart, high heart. That's also part of the 12-pointed tree of life configurations, which are the basis, again, of the angelic human. Part of this are also butterfly activations. So I saw yesterday a huge cosmic butterfly activation. So again, this is cosmic, not just earthly. And they are, so it's not like the old Taurus configuration, which is really part of the old, as some call it, poison apple configurations, which is part of the artificial axial tilt that was part of the old Earth, and that has been adjusted. Okay, news update. And I have spoken about this before, because some people are still believing we're still tilted, and even modern science is showing the evidence. So anyway, now we are back aligned with Source, Andromeda, Lion Stargates. All is being repaired, also in our field. So what I'm really trying to bring in is that unification of the 12 tribes, by trying to make them understand what's really going on here, and not to fall anymore through, because it's really cognitive dissonance that's still keeping people there, I believe, at this point. Because you must see that you are stuck in polarity consciousness, and think, if you think that you have it all figured out and somebody else just false light, and you know what I mean, from that place of judgment, or you hate fallen angelics, and you're still feeding that good versus evil programming, which is the ultimate representation of good versus evil, which is resembled or represented, again, as what happens in religion. You're fallen for that, it traps you in polarity consciousness. We need to transcend this fully now. You need to understand all of this, everything. This is part of the fallen realities and timelines. May or may not be true, because there's so many stories going on out there from so many different sources of what the true history is of humanity. We're here to remember it. Never mind the fallen realities. It's now time to really let go of what has fallen, because we're really quantum leaping, jumping, merging, synchronizing with New Earth now. It's not going to happen in a few hundred years. It's already happening. So you want to get onto the train. And again, if you believe it's not so and it still takes a few hundred years, then, or however long, then you keep feeling that timeline. Because it's really your choice to tune into that reality which you want to co-create. And it's up to you how far you're jumping right now. That's what I'm seeing. And I know that many people who believe in the material think that what I teach and even the activations I do, that's all part of false light, because that's what the material is teaching you. But those activations are okay. I think I said enough about that. Yeah, the poison apple. So the butterfly configurations is with the 4 poles. You don't have just north and south pole. You also have, that's the rod, which is basically fully anchored now since yesterday, since the 12th, which are the masculine east-west coordinates of your energetic field. So you don't just have the toroidal field as we know it. What's the name again of that thing? Taurus, the normal Taurus. It's literally a butterfly configuration. I've shared pictures of that before. We can do it again tomorrow. I know Camille has shared some, and then I reshared his post and added some more pictures on that. You can look maybe down my timeline on Facebook to see some more visuals. But the thing is, I know when you see the visuals of all these configurations, sometimes it can cause more confusion, because yes, even if you study these materials for like 10, 20 years, you might be more confused than you ever been. And also the material constantly changes. But again, some of the core of the material is, also that has helped me to remember. Yes, I'm German. Well, I grew up there. I'm more Irish. Well, whatever. Cosmic, really. So anyway, so the material is really, where was I? The poison apple and the butterfly configurations, it's basically this is eternal God source backflow return, as I call it. We're connected to source for our now aligned, corrected axial tilt of the earth, which is also happening within the staff of our own energy field. Okay, so you have a Merkaba that meets your staff and your rod. That's the vocabulary I use, or your vertical and your horizontal alignments of your Merkabic field. Meeting your high heart. All right. And these have been out of tune. So our Merkaba has been out of tune. So we have not been able to activate our light bodies because it's been all messed with. All right, like everything else. So we have been correcting the staff. It's now fully aligned with the core of Andromeda, Lion Stargate, back to source, no longer feeding into a phantom matrix. And the rod codes now yesterday fully, like they've logged in already over the last week, the staff and the rod. They're now at the moment really reconciling and realigning, readjusting within a planetary body and within us. And that is also again happening through the twin flames as they unify the divine union activations, really, because it's all interconnected. Okay. So this is what's anchoring, and this is also what then activates fully your crystal lotus flower configurations within your geometry, which is again connected to your eternal life configurations of the sacred geometries you should be running in your field, which is not the flower of life, for example. So it's the eternal lotus flower. I left a link below also at this point again. If you like what I share and subscribe, subscribe, like, share, that kind of thing. And also donations, very much appreciated, because I do share a lot. So thank you very much for that, for those that do support me back also in that matter or in any other way. Thank you so much. So basically the crystal lotus flower and these patterns are what enables to clear out the reversals within the planetary body, within our own field, that have also been feeding or have been part of the whole architecture of our light body and in the planetary field, that have been feeding into the phantom matrix and basically have been siphoning our life force in order to feed the fallen timelines and the fallen matrices. So we all need to do this in our own lives by no longer feeding vampires or people that are not good for us, or feeding our healing energy into things that are not good, like the queen there, feeding her any good healing energy for her life beyond, absolutely unnecessary, as I see, going back to source. That kind of thing. Or people in your life who constantly drain you. You need to cut them off, okay? You need to use your own energy field. I also left below the 12D shield a link again that may also help you. There are many things you can do and that we need to do, that on a physical, mental, emotional, spiritual level you need to do in order to clear your field, clear your mental, emotional, and spiritual bodies, basically. So, and it all is unifying as one whole, where everything is totally unified as one with our multidimensional self. And part of that is where you realize, okay, all these entities and attachments and all this crap is ultimately thought forms of the insane, corrupted collective mind and consciousness that we're here to transcend and clear as we turn back to source and no longer feed into fallen matrices, which is represented by you thinking somebody else knows better than you and you're constantly giving your power away, or feeding those lost souls that you can't really help because they're not helping themselves. So we need to learn all this. We need to correct everything that got us into a siphoning reality, into this artificial matrix construct, go back to the start, correct all these things in order to heal. And that's literally how we're quantum merging, leaping into back to the future where we should be, the new Eden. And I'm not looking at the comments, I just can't today. So I will maybe in a bit, but it's just too much. So I'm just mostly transmitting today. Okay, so I hope I'm transmitting this in a useful way, because I don't want people who are waking up right now from kind of a false light construct that was full of channelings and constantly, people giving their power away to just sit there and wait for the next channeling, telling them everything is going to be great without really doing anything themselves to make it so and make it happen. And then the other ones who are then caught in kind of the negative mindset, constantly feeding those fallen matrices from the other way, where everything is bad and everything is negative and everything is false light, and you're constantly in fear and you don't understand, you're stuck in polarity consciousness. None of that is any good. All right. Your connection to source is what this is all about. You multidimensionally merging with your higher identities. You don't need a script. You don't need a teacher. We're all here. Ultimately, there is no right or wrong way. It's all part of it. Okay. All good. But you need to right now, it's a good time to understand that you have all the access you need. You don't need another person to get you to activate your DNA or know what's happening or what's not happening or what you need to do. Yeah, we've all been asked, really working our spiritual bum off, haven't we? We're really due a massive holiday. Oh my God. I can't even tell you. I know we've all been crawling here. Ultimately, it's so, but like when I feel sometimes, like today, we've been pushing through again another layer, and yesterday, massive clearings and healings. And it's like, it feels something so empowering. You just want to cry or give up. And then you're like, okay, this makes me also then push through, because then I'm like, I take that anger of like, just, I am sovereign. We're reclaiming this earth, our own sovereignty, because when I tune in, I become the earth, and we all are the cosmos ultimately. This is all just a projection of our consciousness of the one. So we have the power, and then I get into that mode of then clearing that crap up, and then afterwards it's better again. And we keep doing this until it's done. And we're so freaking close. Any moment now, I just know. I don't care what anyone says out there about hundreds of years or whatever. And again, I'm not telling you what you should think. Maybe you have another timeline co-created. But those people, for example, I don't know what happens to those people who think this is like all what I talk about, all of false like Matrix, and this is all woo-woo or whatever. I know real visionaries and pioneers have been declared, slightly crazy because they're always ahead of their time. And I know this is cutting edge consciousness, and I'm not denying anything, believe me. I know what's going on. I'm not saying I have it all figured out, okay? Again, yeah, and it's all perfect. But I also know I need to speak this truth because it dissolves all these false layers in the field. Because I know it also makes me a target. What I do makes me a target for many lifetimes of who we are. It makes us the target. But it's now also, I think we can feel it in the field, us speaking the truth is cutting through all the crap, and it's happening on all levels and layers. The more truth we can speak, the more of the falseness and artificialness dissolves, and the lies, the manipulation. Because the only thing I'm here for is truth. Yeah, and it's a frequency. And that frequency of truth, never mind if I maybe say something wrong or don't know it all, that's because this is beyond words. This is beyond thinking we have it all figured out, and thought, and even objects, and identifying with form. That's what keeps us separated. So how do we merge into the singularity? Besides merging all of this, it's like you move beyond that. You are identifying with your body and who you think you are. And that also includes the spiritual ego. Because we are all things. So we dissolve into all of this. And that's how we purify all that. When I say healing all, it means all those beings and things and distortions that are not of those higher frequencies are going back to source, or, every soul is going to return to their home or source, which is home for us all. And ultimately source is within. And this is all about the higher heart activations right now and us opening up our hearts. So you don't want to get stuck in teachings that keep you afraid of listening to our own guidance, thinking every archangel and ascended masters is all crap and distorted and everything is false light. Keeps you separated from your brothers and sisters, keeps you, in fear-based mindsets. That's what keeps co-creating all this crap. Yeah, but dance party soon. Oh my God. Please. Let's have some fun. We need to bring fun. Okay, so I had enough of the serious talk. Thank you, Shannon. So the old memories, false, fallen timelines, all this crap that's been pushed on that level, okay, equals the holographic inserts and implants, equals the fear-based thought forms and belief systems that keep recreating a fallen matrix. That's a truth. And it's even what the material says. Thoughts create things. Repetitive thought forms create matter. Whatever we resist persists. It's all there. But anyway, let cognitive dissonance dissolve now, because I want us to come together. I want to get to the party, and I'm really sick and tired of it. I feel my heartache now. And I only want what's best for everyone. All of our brothers and sisters. This includes everyone, but we're all, yes, free will is always respected. But just check which side are you really standing on. Now, enough of that. One more thing. Those people who know of the story of the three Christs, okay? Because there's the story, and as far as I remember. So I don't believe Joshua was crucified on the cross. First of all, also, look at every of these stories like a story, like you would tell children. Don't even identify too much with all of this, okay? But that there are three Christs. One Christ who got crucified on the cross but wasn't the real Christ. Then there's one which is basically like a 9D avatar, but kind of he taught or was taught by the real Joshua, but it's really kind of an Anunnaki insert. And then the real Joshua, which would be a 12D avatar. And basically, but the 12D avatar supposedly had 6 children with 6 different women, priestesses. And then the 9D avatar, which is the one that most people know with Mary, which also got away, they're basically kind of, Anunnaki type inserts, not the real Joshua as we know it. And I have to say, if you believe in that story, I just want to say one thing here. If you believe that the real story about the offspring and the Holy Grail and what the lineage of Joshua was really about is about just having sex for the sake of procreation, even if it was holy in some way with 6 different women, don't know, doesn't resonate. And because for me, it's really all about, yes, Joshua, Jesus, yes, as we know. Because it's a lot to do with the Christic teachings, or what really the Christ also stands for, or when we say Christos, also spelled with a K, it's really crystalline frequency. It's really the higher 12-dimensional plus God source consciousness. That's what it stands for. And also holding those 12 strands DNA in the template, which is really the core of the 12 tribes, which is where the 12 tribes come from. That's why he was also son of God. Anyway, so for me, a story where, Joshua and Mary are a divine union couple, and we're here to, birth children in love is much more resonant to what the Holy Trinity stands for, the Holy Grail stands for, divine union stands for. So I'm just going to say that for those people who are familiar with that story or who may still come across to that story, you might, I don't know, it just doesn't resonate with me just from that perspective. Because for me, the whole Joshua Mary story is very much about divine union, divine masculine, feminine archetypes, and the Holy Grail, the lineage that they had, the children that they had, several, they're very much part of the Grail lineages, and we're here to keep the DNA strands, the 12 strands DNA, and also the access to the stargates and the sphere of Amenti and all of that alive, and to finish the Christos mission. So I spoke about that now. Done with that. So massive activations in the grids, crystal cathedral activations. We're really literally the Christos, the crystalline consciousness, crystalline activations, our atoms and cells literally liquefying and becoming one with God. Okay, that's divine union. And we can only do this as we become pure, like crystals, like diamonds, under great pressure. And we do not become corrupted by desire and material things and whatever. And we keep doing the right thing, even if it's the hardest thing ever, which most of us and those listening have been doing for the last 2 years. Christic Diamond Sun. Yeah, that's what we're holding, the template. The template of, that's the Holy Grail, eternal life. 12-strand DNA plus, which is holding the full 144 supermagnetic strands of DNA, which is also the music of the spheres. And the 144 and 144K also stands for the archetype of the the 144,000 archetypes of the Godhead and the eye of God. So these are really archetypes, and we came here to clear them. And when we think like fallen angelics are all outside of us, be careful, because when we hate something, if we don't transmute that hate, we become the very thing we hate. It's like, you have on the sort of love light brigade then people who are kind of avoiding their shadow, maybe, like in the extreme cases, because there's all variations in between, obviously, okay? And we're not putting people into boxes, at least I don't, but we use words in order to describe things. But on a love light, let's say, community, you have maybe people who are like doing what's it called? Spiritual bypassing by just focusing on being happy, where it's more pretense and you're not really going into the shadow and confronting all that what's really keeping you from truly feeling happy, by resolving your inner child traumas and so forth, by pretending everything is fine, I need to have a high vibration. And then at the other end, you have just too much focus on the negativity, where it's basically a projection of your own unresolved shadow aspects that you're projecting all onto other people or groups and things and people. And that's why the only solution is really that turning everything within, without you being, the worst person in the world, because you understand, look, this is not personal. It's a creation of the one. Whatever is my part of the cake, what I came here to resolve within my family, ancestral line, within the whole collective, all of that crap, I came here to resolve. Ultimately, that's my mission. That's my pride. That's my worth. That's my dharma and destiny. And that's where I take my strength from, the bigger picture of what we're doing this for those people who can't, and because that's just what we came here for. It's like, there is no real choice for me, at least. I tried again. Doesn't work. So, and because we're also so driven, because, if you're so connected to source takes over. And that's what we're here for, to transcend our little ego needs. Ultimately, we also need to look after ourselves, but you get me. But ultimately, this is bigger than us, because this is about the one. And what did we come here to do? Okay, where can we be the change? Like last time when I said, okay, what do we want to change? And then people, no more greed. So every time you see something you don't want to see, so what's the opposite of that? So what's the opposite of greed? How can we adjust greed within the field? Because we are the blueprint makers. We're the template makers. We create the shifts in the field. You will see, as you change, the reality around you will always change. That's how we do it. We can't change the reality by trying to control it or manipulate it. We change it from the inside out. So greed, the opposite of that, how we could, combat that, be the change, would be by adding more generosity to the field. So where do you feel greedy, or where do you feel you don't have enough? Where are you not giving to other people? And it doesn't mean you need to sacrifice yourself and overgive. That's not what it is about. It's all about balance. But that's what we have to ask ourselves. Whatever pops up in your reality and you're still getting triggered by, what can you do in order to bring more balance to the field? If you see too much of one thing, what can you add in order to bring more balance? That's how we create change. And that unstoppable drive and passion, because these are not the real realities. We need to keep remembering this is all fake. It's a projection. We're here to shift that projection. It's outside of time. Don't let anyone tell you that it takes X, Y, and Z, unless you want it to be like that and you feel you need more to resolve in more years. It's ultimately quantum, and we are doing this here. We are the forerunners. We're here to create a change in the field. Never mind the others. What are the others showing you? They're just mirroring something. But it's for you to figure out what. And what we're focusing on right now is everything. So if we want to focus on fallen timelines, you keep feeding that. Why? In any case. So right now, the best tip I can give you is focus everything you have on New Earth Realities, whether it's meditation, what you read, what you watch. Everything is this. Everything you put your attention towards, you feed your life force towards. And that's where we need to be very careful. Is it something that brings more joy to your life, more expansion, more energy? Is it perpetuating? Is it adding to you? Or is it just draining you? You need to check all of those areas to have a sovereign field. And being the neutral observer doesn't mean that you're just there and like nothing phases you and you're just like, yeah, whatever, let's all be happy. No, It's like you own your shit, you own whatever comes up, but you keep coming back to your heart and you keep coming back to neutrality because you know it's part of the game. It's part of you, just something resolving. It's all literally a program. Everything is a program, you see. Everything's belief systems and thought forms. That's why we need to go deep within, because 95% has been subconscious, and it's our subconscious has been driving our realities that have been fed by all of the information we have been taking in, instead of us tuning into a higher consciousness and then sending out. That's the big difference. What are we here to create? Never mind what everybody else is telling us to create. Because we are the creators. We came here to seed reality. We are co-creating reality in every moment in our time. And we need to have fun with that now. Most of us, it's basically holding space for enough of us to get, and it's already happening. I can feel it in the filter shift of us getting to that. Yes, we can create now. Our dreams are coming true. It's all aligning. It's just that we simultaneously had to clear out all this crap. But it's really super extra quantum fast, God soul speed. So it is about fun, but you can't force fun. Everything is always fine in every now moment. Okay? We don't resist anything. We don't cling on to anything, whether it's good or bad. I need to neutralize it from that perspective of trying to put it into good and bad. That these people are good or bad. They're all playing their role. Obviously, we needed the dark in order to rise in our power and strength, because we have given it away. We cannot forget that. We have given it away. Yeah. So all these powerful crystallization activations and DNA activations at the moment are really bringing so much clarity and downloads as well, because we are clearing out all the false realities. So don't focus on them, the fallen timelines, whether they're in the mainstream or on your newsfeed and social media. Again, focus on new Earth realities now. I mean, even if it wasn't about to happen any moment now, it sure can't hurt. Or do you think false hope? Because I know there's such thing out there being said as this would be false hope and blah, blah, blah. It's not about that you need to put all it's not about anxiously waiting. It's now. No, this happens in absolute neutrality, 0 point, not expecting anything. Everything is already happening now and already so. That's what you're tuning in with. But it's a very deep knowing of how everything works and how powerful we are and what we came here to do. This is not about just imagining sandcastles in the air, although they are crystalline cities. But we activate this from within. And we need to truly believe in ourselves and gifts and abilities, our intuition. And you can't do this if you're constantly just waiting for someone else to tell you what's going to happen, when, what to do, what's right, what's wrong, and what's what. We're here to remember, and that's what's happening now. Also with the sun disk activations, the crystal cathedral activations, it's all bringing the new crystalline technologies online. That's free energy. That's your superpowers. Okay, literally any moment now. Internet and everything has been very glitchy. There will be a lot more solar activity, I feel. We've already been pretty blitzed. There's a lot of charged particles in the atmosphere, which are all helping our crystallization. There was a big C flare today and yesterday M flare. Both times I was doing grid work and planetary work, and it really helps. Like, I just do it intuitively, and then I see there's one going on most of the time. And that just really helps blitz this. And I can just recommend for those who feel they're on a twin flame journey or in general to really unify at a higher dimensional level, beyond 60, with all of yourself, but especially with your masculine energy, to merge them, merge it with dimensional layers and levels, because that's going to activate your full diamond rainbow light body, and macabric structure. I mean, I don't even look at 5D. For me, this is beyond. Okay, we're at the moment, the forerunners are merging and integrating 10 to 15D. And it's really beyond that. It's, again, we're looking at this really from a lower kind of 3D compartmentalized perspective. But the twin flames very much we merge with that in divine, holy inner union, whichever way that comes up for you in your reality. And that's what brings in the remaining frequencies, keys, and codes and quantum that you need in order to ascend. And that is also what's clearing the field right now. It's clearing the false light matrices, because that's what literally has brought us to this place, is believing in our fears and being separated by negative agendas and beliefs and thought forms and beings, energetic interference. So we can't fall for these tricks anymore. And we just need to, sorry, have a candle on. I was dropping on the table. And we just can't fall for the false light agendas anymore of conquer and divide, whether it happens energetically or, you know, at any other level. And you just need to, it's not as, and you shouldn't go to a place where you are afraid of taking part in activations or going to a healer or whatever. You just need to trust your intuition. And again, everything I had to experience in order to figure out, oh no, that's not really so good for me, ultimately. Because there's also things that can make you feel in a false, blissful, like, state. And you think like, hey, everything is great, but it's not really, it's not true divine bliss. It's false bliss. But only you can, you know, experience is literally the only way. So just never be afraid. And that's what I see is the main problem. If you then fall for a belief system that tells you you should be afraid of everything and anything, and you're just closing yourself off, because that's how we close down our heart. That's what doesn't enable us to ascend. That's the agenda, closing down our heart. And yeah, our full chakra system is 15 chakras. Activate now. Not just 5 or 7, 15. And really it's beyond that. But it's the main basic we are working with. And again, also Ascension Glossary, there are also distortions in there, and I don't agree with everything. And also, I'm not saying I have all the answers, but that's why we all have our own truth to retrieve. If you just constantly think someone else out there has all the answers, you constantly give your power away, you cannot retrieve your own wisdom and knowing and what you're here to bring back. And we're here to activate these history records, the knowing, the knowledge, the wisdom from within our own DNA, crystalline cellular memory, also in the planet and crystalline caverns and networks. It's all interconnected. And that's what's bringing everything online right now in our memories. And it's the truth that arises from within and that cannot be questioned. And it's not about comparing books. Yeah, and everybody just needs to figure out for themselves what activations, clearings, practices work for them. Ultimately, there's nothing right or wrong. But I believe everything brings you back to you do have the instruction sets, all you need to know within you. We all learn from others, okay, but just don't give your power away to any one set of teachings or people or person in any way, shape, or form in your private life as well. Yeah, I just believe there's some, you know, that there's everywhere. You know, I think we just need to let go of thinking we have it all figured out and hanging on to any one kind of belief system right now. Let it go and literally ask to be shown the truth. I mean, I do this all the time. I ask questions. I ask for what I want to know. And obviously it doesn't always come when and how I want it. But ultimately right now, with all the interference patterns and all the false memories, holographic inserts and overlays and false matrices fully dissolving now, clarity comes, remembering comes, true memories, true history records. That's our blueprints. These are the DNA keys and codes DNA, RNA, quantum time codes, activated now. That brings true remembering online, that brings gifts and abilities online, that brings the true organic realities online. It doesn't happen by you regurgitating false, fallen timeline material. Done. I'm getting a headache. Yeah, and it's not even, I don't even like the word really distorted so much. You know, it's just lower codings, reversals, something is not quite right. But as we ultimately, if you focus on your consciousness and your connection to source, your own inner knowing and wisdom, and even when we get it wrong, you know, sometimes I get messages and you also need to listen for the wording. And, you know, later on you see, no, maybe I interpreted this wrong. That's how you learn, you know. Or at that moment in time, you needed to believe that because it brought you to the next place. So from one perspective, it might be wrong now, but really it never has been. And whatever needed to happen has always happened. It always leads us back to the start, back to source, back home, back to one another, back to oneness, back to unity. So don't let these narratives divide you, keep you in fear. That's what we're clearing now, because it's all part of the fallen timelines, fallen realities. And you don't want to keep feeding the entities with your fear and anger and projections. Put it all back within. What can you learn? What's triggering you? What are you still hating? What are you still judging? And once you have your inner child healed, none of the stuff really triggers you anymore. It's like literally people are just, you know, it's part of the trauma bonding. They run from one abuser to the next. And, you know, it's because we never really knew what true love is. We never really knew what is truth. We had false parent archetypes throughout our lives. So we keep being reconnected to those in order to really resolve also these issues and pain. It's all part of it, you know. So that's your own little life, your own little family, or it's more group kind of setting, or whoever we are connected with. It's all part of us really resolving the original split that happened from source within the 12 tribes. So the original galactic, you know, brothers and sisters, star beings and galaxies that have seeded human life on Earth. And we carry all together this divine blueprint. So the best of all these galactic races in its divine human form as God embodied, which is like a divine blueprint. It's like a core blueprint for all of creation. That's why this is so important. This is so much bigger than what most people understand. And even I really get. If anyone has any question, I need 1 minute. Sorry, 1 sec. 1 minute break. Thanks so much for waiting. Sorry. Yeah, back to love. And it's not a kind of, you know, when we speak about love, divine love, it's a higher love. It's not a, what's the word for it? You know, when you don't know what's going on. It's clued in. It has boundaries. Hey, James. Back to the Future, yeah. But it's an all-encompassing love. It's tough love. It's soft love. It's all kinds of things. I find it sometimes really hard to put these kind of things that are so all-encompassing into words. I do like Rumi. He has kind of the best way to put these things into really simple sentences. But it's many things, and it's about us really rediscovering and remembering what love is about, what all of this is about. And it's not about, you know, it's the same if you talk about fallen angelics, and different reptilians or draconians or whatever. No one from any creed or origin is just, you know, the same as we would say Germans are like this, or English are like this, or, you know, Africans are like this. We can't generalize these things. There are many nuances in multidimensional living. And this has been a great big project, but this is so much about understanding that this is about a balance and merging of shadow and light within ourselves, of the fallen angelic and the risen angelic, because everything is just an aspect of us. Everybody is another us, without getting lost, you know, in the sea of identities and all these stories that are playing out, where you need to have this neutral perspective of the oneness, of the neutrality, where you're the observer, which is the 0 point field where we are collapsing all of these fallen timelines right now. Super extra quantum, God source speed, quickly, really super. And we've been doing this for a long time. Yes, we have been already doing this for billions of years. Really, do we need another few hundred years? Why? Why do we think we do? I know sometimes it seems that way, but I just know that we are really ready, the forerunners now, to rise. And we are lifting everything else up with us in frequency. And the ascension is already in full force. So I'm really just today to give the false light matrix its last kick and dissolve it now. So it is. Because we're all ready for the party. Yes, we are. Ready to dance, ready to party. My throat is ready for a holiday too. All happens now and how we all gotta exist. Now is really all there is. The quantum now, tune into that field, your own higher intelligence, your own higher heart and mind. Your heart is your access to source. Sorry, all these noises. I might just close this one. Even at night, it's noisy. But really, it's about us activating right now all of our magical aspects, which is already happening. I'm seeing this really clearly in the field. As all is also merging, also inner earth, Agatha, the crystalline kingdoms that we are and are connected with, the elemental merge with the elementals, clear them through your field as well. So fire, earth, which is turning crystalline, so carbon to crystalline, water, air, ether. We are the water benders and ether benders. We are the elementals. This is what creates matter. And it's also what's being re-encrypted, also with the help of all these solar energies and the ionization of our atmosphere and field. So it's happening within our own fields and within a planetary field. Can I read your energy? I'm not here to do psychic energy readings. No. Okay. Anyway. So basically, also a little note by this. So I don't really do Messenger. I don't, I know there are some emails I want to get back to, and sorry for the people I haven't gotten back to. I have this even with people close to me, like family, friends, more, you know, closer to me. So just know that's just the way it is, okay? It's really potluck if you get me or not. Most often underneath maybe the Facebook comments, but just don't take it personally if I don't get back to anyone. And I just try my best. And what I do share, as I said, a lot of the work I do is behind the scenes, as many of us can relate to. And then all the extra energy I have is really where I share with as many people in the way I'm being shown is the most effective. That's also why I can't do personal sessions right now. I just, I would also like the money, but that's just not what I can do from a place of integrity and where really is my heart, because I just don't have that energy right now. We're just trying to get this done. And a lot of this is planetary work that takes a lot out of us. So thank you so much for everybody out there who never gets a thank you, who's not really who doesn't feel being seen, or hasn't had any rewards or anything to show yet for all the hard work we're doing. I thank you so much for all the work you're doing. We're doing amazing. Thank you so much for all the hard work, for all those sincere souls that have truly, surrendered all they had to Source and the project of collective ascension from a pure heart. So thank you so much. Thank you. I think I might do very small light language activation to literally dissolve any remaining false mind constructs and so forth. I'm going to record it separately, just something short. And really now tuning into our gifts and abilities, believing in them, all we see, all that's happening at a higher dimensional level within our meditation. That's what's bringing this in. Tune into the New Earth Realities. You can also check out my SoundCloud recordings. Link is below, along with the donation details and some other links that I've mentioned. And the SoundCloud, the New Earth Now, it's just 20 minutes long. It's really good for this also. To really tune in to what we're here merging with and synchronizing with. It's a frequency. We're here to anchor, ignite from deep within. It's connected to our DNA, to the crystallization process, and it's all happening now. Okay, so tune in, hop on board, do the work, have fun with it as much as you can. So if you want to take headphones, or you can later on listen to the recording. Also, I will do and leave the link later on, also in the description box of a separate MP3 download link, and also add this to my SoundCloud. Jeez. So just take a couple of breaths just to relax and come to the center of your heart. Come to the 0 point within, beyond time, beyond space, beyond all illusions of separation, merging with the oneness that all is and that you are, right there within your high heart, within a permanent seed atom. Seed opening and igniting, connecting you with the cosmic heart grid throughout all dimensional layers, levels, realities, all realms, all beings, all of life. Irashuna nayayaka kure heyo ayaka ekonake ekara ura unananere ua ianake keru kono shakarate ke ta ayanake ake enai uanayaka ea unayanake ea asunai ea nasura shekenake ake kenake ake na unai ke unayena ne. Eshunayena ketane. Na te ke unayena ke ateaka. Ushayane ake unase. He. Ake ane ake. Unayane ase ake atayana. Kukunaye ena esunate ake na se te ne tu ane aya ane ake are ase ane ake una na tu ane ayu ane 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 no ke ai Uyana nana seru shukanatea kekinasa ara unada isunake anakana shukura satara sata. Dissolving any and all remaining false light matrices, false light constructs, lower negative, inverted, limiting thought forms, beliefs, from within our field, our consciousness, throughout all layers, levels, and dimensional realms, the one collective consciousness, throughout all time and space now. Una kirae, inarasa ara sukura ina ke arushu ayana ira ke aseteta yana ira shukura seatera eka asayana ina shunaya ayayayayaya. Kukuna ikira sa enaterare asanate ikira su. Sushunayake eskarayaka. Kuku ayanaye esunate yakanata. Ayanake ananasuye ayanayake. Unifying our divine masculine, feminine, and divine inner child as one within the Holy Trinity, rebirthing ourselves and all as one within the singularity, within the oneness, dissolving and merging into the nothingness and allness that we all are and all is, where all simply is, within the 0 point field, from where all is dissolved and co-created from. Returning to the original seeding point, our original innocence, our original divine blueprints with upgrades now. Highest divine blueprints, activating our magical aspects, the magical kingdoms and realities from deep within us now. Within inner earth, activating our cosmic reunion from deep within, our multidimensional DNA, our atomic structure, realities turning crystalline, feeling this higher liquid light currents throughout our vessels and our bodies, crystallizing our blood and our bones, our fascia and skin, activating our higher diamond minds and hearts as one, unifying, merging as one right and left brain hemispheres, pineal and pituitary gland, heart and mind, masculine, feminine, heaven and earth as one now, in quantum no time, for so it is. New earth, ascension realities, activating now from deep within. Unanae natura shakere, aena sure kere, kena karanu nae una tere takanashe kukunaye kenana satara enake. Dissolving all remaining illusions of separation, time, space, and gravity within our consciousness, within our morphogenetic fields, remembering our true history again, activating from deep within our cellular memories now, DNA and crystalline caverns within Earth throughout the grids, activating the Crystal Cathedral Network, Machu Picchu, Oslo, Bali, Giza, Temple Mount, Eonakara Shakara Sake, Sae, activating the new Christa Sapphira Crystal Sophia blueprint, the androgynous Albion body, throughout the grids, throughout our fields, throughout the collective field, throughout all life, everywhere. Divine union within, divine union without. The Holy Trinity reborn, birth in the singularities and all realities as one and new, aligned with higher divine consciousness now. Kurayana e enana sutura shinate he yuna ke e ara sukura shekenate aya hu e ye ta su na ne na e sukara shekenate ekana sekura ekana kekana kekeru suku. Letting go of all that was, all fallen realities, all fallen timelines, false memories, false holographic inserts dissolve in our field, in the planetary field, collective consciousness, the one mind and heart now. Usunakera shakara shukukuna kekena sekera ta kuyanaero ara kenosara shukuna se. Only the truth remains that arises from within each one of us now. Uyana era shura ke e una ara sakara sukukuna e kerata e anakara sakara sake. Ke una enaka. Eyo. O ekara ekura skurayata. Skutanate. Ekarae o aya. A ua ekara. A uman a iskara iskuna ekara akara ukara ekara a ikuna isku ai a iskuna e a ayaka ukara kera ure esunateaka unatareake kekena sa asunateaka. Calling all of our multidimensional selves back to us, fully unified and healed. All of our soul pieces, soul fragments, soul aspects, healed and unified as one. Consciousness, fully embodied, fully integrated. Su ushka ene. Ayayanata. Kuyanate. Activating the diamond avatar within and throughout the collective field. Esunake ea asatarae. Eunake kenata. Unana yinana. The divine template of the 144 plus 3 as 1. Activating now throughout all. Esura shekina keketara ekena usuna tetara ena ke isutareta. E ayaya asatashu. Uyanake eonata ayanata yasa. Unifying as one with our soul, oversoul, avatar, Rishi, one pure true God source consciousness as one. Birth in the unity grid, new organic ascension realities in the organic creatrix field now through our crystalline rose and diamond hearts. Ekura ishina tarayana kea keke na sutura tea keke na ya. Uyana ya unana suae. Ayane ayuna una 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 tetuna una una aya eko a tatuna uya ne nu ta ya Sukura eshkara ikira atara atarae ke onakara sata. It is done, it is done, it is done. So it is. Esukara sheke kanate ya. Yunatare kayana tata yunasa ya ye. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Come fully back into your body, into the here and now, anchoring these frequencies, keys and codes received into the field, into your locations, into the grids, into the core of the earth and all that is. So it is done. Now, I hope you enjoyed that. Drink loads of water. I'll post it later on. It's just about 15 minutes long. That shall help us. It is done. Unify as one within the singularity. And we should be rocking and dancing at that party any moment now. Okay? Until then, enjoy the relaxation as much as you can, if you can, as in if you feel the, upgrades and clearings both can be very heavy. Especially lately, it's been very intense. Just keep staying in the flow, keep coming back to your heart, and keep doing your best. That's all we can really do. All right? And love it all up. Ultimately, this all comes back to union with self, to self-love. When we really accept and love ourselves the way we are, we extend this out to everyone else. Other people can help us with this because we're not just here to do this all on our own. There's just so much anyone can do all on our own. So that's why people like me do what we do to help a little bit. And thank you so much for doing your part, whatever that is. Everything is this. And just trying to, do the work and doing your best every day. That's really what it's all about. Okay? So thank you so much. So many blessings. I love you all. And let's make it happen. New Earth now. Everything we say, think, feel is this. Every action Okay? So be super conscious of everything you're taking in and putting out there. Okay? Every 30 seconds. Thank you. Thank you for being here. I love you so much.